3 years later, Briarwood Lane still felt unfinished. The city replaced the streetlight where Evan had last been seen. Brighter bulb, steadier glow. But it didn't change the way people crossed the street a little faster there, or how parents called their kids inside earlier than they used to. Rosa Morales still lived in the same house. People assumed she would move, start over, as if grief respected geography. She didn't. "This is where he laughed," she told a friend once. "Why would I leave that?" Grief didn't arrive all at once. It came in waves, predictable at first, then cruelly inventive. Rosa learned to survive anniversaries. Birthdays were harder. She learned that grocery stores were dangerous places because Evan's favorite cereal still existed in the world, unchanged. She stopped correcting people when they said was. She didn't stop setting the alarm for 6:30 a.m., even though no one needed waking anymore. The trial faded from the news cycle within weeks. Another case replaced it. Another tragedy. Another name. But Rosa remembered everything. She remembered Marcus Ivy looking bored during jury selection. Jordan Bell staring at the floor. Noah Pike crying every time Evan's photo appeared on a screen. She remembered thinking, at least one of them knows what they did. She remembered thinking, that doesn't bring him back. Detective Hargreave transferred out of homicide the year after sentencing. Officially, it was a career move. Unofficially, it was Evan. He couldn't stop counting the moments where things could have gone differently. The pause before the answer. The chance to check an ID. The moment after the first punch. He began lecturing new officers differently. Most murders don't start with hate, he'd say. They start with certainty. Marcus Ivy appealed. The appeal failed. In prison interviews years later, he framed it as bad luck. Wrong night. Wrong kid. But once, just once, he admitted something else. He looked scared. Marcus said quietly, and I didn't care. That confession never made headlines. It didn't need to. Jordan Bell found religion. Noah Pike wrote letters. Both were returned unopened. Rosa didn't want apologies that came after consequences. She wanted her son. Evan Rafael Morales was released on parole 8 years later. He moved out of state, changed his hair, avoided mirrors when he could. He never used his middle initial again. On the anniversary of Evan's death, he donated anonymously to a local music program. Every year. Same amount. Same date. It didn't erase anything, but it was the closest thing he had to penance. The memorial plaque by the drainage ditch was vandalized twice. Each time, Rosa returned with cleaning supplies and scrubbed it herself. Each time, someone eventually helped. A neighbor, a stranger, a kid who said, "My mom told me about him." The third time, the vandalism stopped. On what would have been Evan's 21st birthday, Rosa hosted a small gathering. No cake, no candles, just music. She played his recordings, unfinished songs, uneven vocals, lyrics that wandered and doubled back on themselves. One line still hurt the most. "If they really saw me." She turned it off before the end. People still argued about the case online. Some called it inevitable. Some called it senseless. Some blamed Evan for answering. Rosa stopped reading comments long ago, but she kept one article folded in her kitchen drawer. The headline was small, almost forgettable. Mistaken identity confirmed in teen's death. She liked that it said confirmed, as if the truth had finally caught up. Years later, a student wrote a paper about the case. They called it a cascade failure, a chain of small decisions, none fatal on their own, that together destroyed a life. Rosa disagreed. It wasn't a cascade. It was a choice. Again and again and again. On the 10th anniversary, Rosa stood under the streetlight alone. Cars passed. Life moved. She closed her eyes and imagined Evan walking toward her, hands in his pockets, that half-smile on his face like he was about to say something sarcastic. She imagined stopping him. Imagined saying, "Don't answer." Imagined him listening. The light hummed steadily above her. Too late. Mistaken identity would always sound like an accident. Something forgivable, understandable, human. But Evan Morales had been asked a question. He answered honestly, and the world answered back with violence. That was the truth of the case. Not confusion, not chaos. A refusal to see a person as anything more than a target. Rosa went home. She locked the door. She set the alarm. She sat at the kitchen table, with a mug once cooled in her hands, and let herself cry. Not loudly, not dramatically, but fully, because loving him had never been a mistake, and remembering him never would be.